prerequisites of law have been met, and that a jury of his peers has unanimously found death to be the appropriate sentence.
As the state continues to struggle to find the drugs needed for lethal injection.
Youngstown's latest homicide victim was apparently no stranger to violence.
The Supreme Court is ordering a federal appeals court to re-examine the case of convicted killer.
And told him that he didn't suffer enough, or this wasn't enough.
Exclusion of reasonable doubt. The court finds the factors are proven are sufficient to impose a sentence of death.
Navigating the moratorium. The Ohio Supreme Court's recent decision to set an ending date for demise row inmate Samuel Moreland has reignited debates surrounding capital punishment in the state, even as Ohio grapples with an unofficial moratorium on endings due to difficulties in procuring legal drugs. Moreland, convicted of the gruesome 1985 slayings of 5 individuals, including 3 children, is slated to face ending on July 30th, 2025, marking a significant development in a case mired in legal complexities and ethical dilemmas. The court's ruling, in response to a request from the Montgomery County prosecutor, underscores the persistent challenges facing Ohio's demise penalty system. Despite the ongoing moratorium and the inherent uncertainties surrounding the availability of lethal injection drugs, the court has opted to move forward with setting an ending date for Moreland, signaling a resumption of capital punishment proceedings in the state. However, Moreland's attorneys have vehemently opposed the decision, citing ongoing legal proceedings and alleging potential violations of human rights. They argue that Moreland's petition with the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights raises serious concerns about due process and fairness, casting doubt on the appropriateness of scheduling an ending date under such circumstances. Nonetheless, the court's decision to proceed underscores the complex interplay between legal, ethical, and procedural considerations inherent in demise penalty cases. At the heart of the matter lies the harrowing tragedy that unfolded in Dayton in 1985 when Moreland perpetuated a heinous act of crime that claimed the lives of his girlfriend Glenna Green, her daughter Lana Green, and 3 innocent grandchildren, Datrin Talbot, Datwin Talbot, and Violana Green. The brutal nature of the slayings, compounded by the tender ages of the victims, sent shockwaves throughout the community, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of Ohioans. In the years since Moreland's conviction, the legal landscape surrounding capital punishment has evolved significantly, with Ohio facing mounting challenges in carrying out endings. The state struggles to obtain lethal injection drugs, coupled with ethical concerns surrounding the administration of capital punishment, has led to a de facto moratorium on endings, raising questions about the future of the demise penalty in Ohio.
The Supreme Court is ordering a federal appeals court to re-examine the case of convicted killer.
Finding that the prerequisites of law have been met, and that a jury of his peers has unanimously found death to be the appropriate sentence.
Republican Governor Mike DeWine's acknowledgement of the logistical hurdles facing lethal injection as a method of ending underscores the need for legislative action to address the shortcomings of Ohio's capital punishment system. As the state grapples with the complexities of carrying out endings, lawmakers must confront the inherent moral and practical challenges associated with capital punishment, seeking viable alternatives that ensure both justice and humanity. Against this backdrop of legal and ethical uncertainty, Moreland's case serves as a poignant reminder of the profound consequences of capital punishment. While the pursuit of justice for the victims and their families remains paramount, it's imperative that the process be conducted in a manner consistent with principles of fairness, due process, and respect for human rights. As Ohio navigates the complexities of its demise penalty system, the setting of an ending date for Samuel Moreland underscores the need for a thoughtful and deliberative approach to capital punishment. Amidst ongoing debates and legal challenges, it's essential that the state's policies reflect a commitment to justice, accountability, and the protection of fundamental rights. In the face of daunting legal hurdles and moral quandaries, Ohio stands at a crossroads, grappling with the weighty implications of its approach to capital punishment. The decision to set an ending date for Samuel Moreland represents a pivotal moment in the state's ongoing dialogue on the demise penalty, calling into question the efficacy and ethics of a system fraught with complexities and uncertainties. As the legal proceedings unfold and the debate over capital punishment continues, Ohio must confront the profound moral and ethical questions raised by Moreland's case, charting a path forward that upholds the principles of justice, fairness, and human dignity for all. Only through thoughtful reflection, compassionate dialogue, and a commitment to fundamental rights can the state navigate the complexities of its demise penalty system and strive towards a more just and humane approach to criminal justice. Heart-wrenching pursuit. The quest for justice in the wake of a horrifying tragedy has resurfaced, stirring a cauldron of emotions and reigniting a decades-old wound for Tia Talbot, a wound that has never truly healed. The specter of that fateful night on November 1st, 1985, when Talbot returned from a routine shopping trip to a macabre scene of unspeakable horror, continues to haunt her to this day. In a moment of cruel fate, Talbot's world was shattered as she discovered the lifeless bodies of her mother, sister, niece, and 2 young sons brutally slaughtered in their home on South Ardmore Avenue in Dayton, Ohio. For Talbot, the trauma of that night remains seared into her memory, an indelible scar that refuses to fade. And now, after 32 years, the wounds are being forcefully reopened as the Ohio Innocence Project champions the cause of Samuel Moreland, the man convicted of perpetrating one of the most heinous mass slayings in Dayton's history. In a bid to unearth the truth, the project is funding new DNA testing, hoping to exonerate Moreland and rewrite the narrative of that tragic night. The prospect of revisiting the nightmare that has haunted her for decades is a bitter pill for Talbot to swallow. The memories of finding her loved ones brutally slain, her sons beaten to demise, and her own son Darren left scarred and traumatized are still fresh in her mind.
And told him that he didn't suffer enough, or this wasn't enough.
As the state continues to struggle to find the drugs needed for lethal injection.
The anguish of reliving these harrowing moments threatens to engulf her once again, dredging up feelings of sorrow, anger, and profound loss. The Ohio Innocence Project's pursuit of DNA testing has stirred a maelstrom of emotions within Talbot, a potent blend of hope and despair, justice and injustice. While she yearns for closure and resolution, the prospect of Moreland's potential exoneration fills her with a sense of dread and disbelief. To Talbot, Moreland is not just a convicted slayer, he's the embodiment of evil, a monster who snuffed out the lives of her loved ones in a senseless act of crime. The road to justice has been long and arduous for Talbot, a journey fraught with heartache, setbacks, and dashed hopes. Moreland's steadfast refusal to admit guilt, coupled with the legal complexities surrounding his case, has only served to prolong her agony. Despite Darren's eyewitness testimony, Moreland has adamantly maintained his innocence, mounting appeal after appeal in a desperate bid to evade justice. As the specter of Moreland's potential exoneration looms large, Talbot finds herself grappling with a myriad of conflicting emotions. The prospect of reopening old wounds fills her with trepidation, yet she remains resolute in her pursuit of truth and justice. For Talbot, this isn't just about seeking closure, it's about honoring the memory of her loved ones, ensuring that their voices are heard, and holding Moreland accountable for his heinous crimes. Tragic legacy. The enduring pain and grief of the Talbot and Green families serve as a poignant reminder of the tragic events that unfolded on that fateful day in November 1985. Eugene Higgins, the father of 2 of the young victims and the former boyfriend of Tia Talbot, was also a victim of crime, meeting a tragic end himself in 1996. His violent history with Tia Talbot adds a layer of complexity to an already harrowing tale of loss and devastation. From his prison cell, Samuel Moreland has relentlessly pursued appeals, challenging the validity of his conviction and raising allegations of procedural impropriety. Despite his efforts, Moreland has faced successive defeats in the legal arena, with courts at various levels upholding his conviction and sentence. Flanagan, speaking on behalf of Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck, expresses skepticism regarding the potential impact of the proposed DNA testing on Moreland's case, citing concerns about contamination and the inability of such tests to definitively establish guilt or innocence. Tia and Darren Talbot remain steadfast in their conviction that Moreland is responsible for the brutal slayings of their loved ones. They expressed frustration and bewilderment at the prospect of further delays in the pursuit of justice, emphasizing Moreland's lack of remorse and the overwhelming evidence of his guilt. For Tia, the quest for justice is deeply personal, driven by a desire to honor the memory of her family and ensure that Moreland is held accountable for his heinous crimes. The profound impact of the tragedy is evident in the lives of the survivors, with Tia and Darren grappling with profound loss and trauma.
Exclusion of reasonable doubt. The court finds the factors are proven are sufficient to impose a sentence of death.
Youngstown's latest homicide victim was apparently no stranger to violence.
For Tia, the pain remains palpable, serving as a constant reminder of the gaping void left by the untimely demises of her loved ones. Darren, haunted by the memories of that fateful night, struggles with survivor's guilt and the burden of carrying on in the absence of his family. Despite the passage of time, the wounds inflicted by Moreland's actions continue to reverberate, casting a long shadow over the lives of those left behind. Tia's decision to relocate to California and Darren's subsequent struggles with addiction and crime underscore the enduring legacy of trauma and loss. While Darren has since turned his life around, finding solace in his marriage and entrepreneurial pursuits, the specter of Moreland's presence on Demise Row serves as a constant reminder of the unfinished business that hangs over their lives. On July 30th, 2025, an execution date was set for Samuel Moreland. Despite an ongoing unofficial moratorium on endings in Ohio due to challenges in obtaining lethal drugs, the Ohio Supreme Court proceeded with the decision granting the request of the Montgomery County prosecutor. Moreland's state and federal appeals had been exhausted, prompting the court to schedule his execution. This development marked a milestone in the legal proceedings surrounding Moreland's case, reigniting discussions about capital punishment and the pursuit of justice for the victims and their families. That's all for this video, guys. See you next time, and bye for now.